Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of my YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I've created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That's a great place for you guys to see the meals that we are enjoying as we work towards our weight loss goal, or as I work towards my weight loss goal. Today is day 859 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 235 pounds. I have a little under 8 months left to go. I'm very excited to reach my goal and spend the rest of my life at a healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. I'd love to hear your on-scale victories as well. Yesterday was weigh-in Wednesday. If you are struggling with your diet, what are some things that you are struggling with? If you're succeeding with your diet, what are you doing to succeed? And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go ahead, switch over to the main here. Hello, pretty girl's mom. Hello, good afternoon, tennis and yoga girl. Hello. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Let me try to pull up my phone here. We'll go over the food that I have had since yesterday. Now, Carrie is very excited about this dinner we had last night. Let me see if I can pull this up. I think it was from the plant-powered families. Let me see if she has the name of it somewhere here before I get too into it. I know she got excited last night, posted on the Discord a bunch of information on it. It is the loaded vegetable soup with farro and beans from Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior Cookbook. That's what it was. Here, I guess I'll just show Carrie's post. There you go. So, yes, the soup was very good last night. This was Carrie's photo of it. She keeps going on about how everybody would love this soup. I think a lot of people would enjoy this soup. It was a very good soup. One of the reasons we liked it so much, probably because it had a little bit of miso in it, and we don't have a lot of miso in our diet. But here's my photo of dinner last night. This was very good. Yeah, we ate it all up last night. The farro that was in it was really good. It reminded me a lot of barley. And like I've mentioned in the past, that just gives it a real nice chew. Like the mouthfeel of the food is really good because of the farro that's in there. Plants Only Muncher, hello. Hope you're having a great day. We're just talking about our wonderful dinner last night. Let me see if I have any other photos from last night. I think I do have a photo of the cobbler there. So, we had, that for dinner last night, and then we'll skip over to breakfast this morning, right to broccoli again, and, our savory oatmeal, the mushrooms, onions, spinach, very nice savory oatmeal for us. And then for lunch today, more broccoli with some potatoes. I don't think I took a photo of everything mixed together, but just a huge bowl of food, and it was amazing. And the thing about the food that we've been having the last couple days, we have not had any of the California balsamics the last few days, and was worried that I would be dissatisfied with eating my broccoli and potatoes without having the seasoning that we normally have, but it's still really good even without adding any extra flavor. The broccoli and the potatoes have flavor in them themselves that is enjoyable. So we don't have to throw the California balsamics or the table tasty on it every single time that we have it, which I feel like when we do have it, or when I have it here at work, I use it a lot. So it was nice to just have a plain bowl of potatoes and broccoli and still enjoy it. It's really good. So that was food since yesterday here. Gene says, good afternoon, folks. It's snowy there today. It is snowy here today as well. Storm front coming in. We're expecting to get a little bit of snow here. Hopefully it doesn't stick for very long and doesn't cause too much hassle for clearing up the driveway, things like that. But I am geared up. I grabbed a can of gas. I got to put some gas in that can on my way home tonight. But just in case I need to get the plow out, I am all set up and ready to go. So did not really have a topic to talk about today. So if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to ask me anything about our whole food plant-based diet, or my diet challenge, or if you have questions about fasting, anything you might have questions about, feel free to ask. And if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to ask questions too, because I can answer them in the future if anybody does have any questions. But just kind of to continue on with where I'm at with the diet and where things are with my progress. Hey, Carrie, thanks for checking in here. We just went over the food. I was telling everybody how much you loved that soup last night that we had that everybody will enjoy, right? I hope everything went well this afternoon with your appointment. I imagine it went fine. But yes, we had, let me think what I was talking about. Just, I feel like I'm in the same kind of position that I was in, almost a year ago, or, throughout the whole second year, where I'm really just kind of in the middle of a diet. I'm not at the beginning where things are extremely, new and you're trying to figure out what to do or how to succeed on your diet. I'm feel like I'm well beyond the beginning of the diet. And I'm not kind of at the crunch yet of what the end of my diet, and what I'm realizing too is that I'm not going to have a crunch at the end of my diet. There is, it's just going to be however fast my body allows me to get to that weight, it's going to happen. But I'm in this, like I said, I'm in the middle of a diet. I don't have that excitement of it being new. I don't have the pressure of it being new too, and trying to make it work. And Carrie does say that it did have, yeah, she loved the soup last night. And Pretty Girl's mom said, yeah, you'll have to make it soon. Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, it's just weird being in the middle of a diet. And not, if I had ever made it to this same feeling of being in the middle of the diet in the past, it was not as at ease as I am now. Like in the past, anytime I was on a diet, I really felt like I was holding on to the diet with my, like the ledge with just my fingertips staying on the diet, where I don't feel that way. I feel firmly planted on the ground with this diet. And it's a weird spot to be in because it's not a spot that I'm used to being in, or that I'm used to being in from before starting this. Like I said, it does feel more familiar now because I've been doing this for 859 days. But it's like, I don't know. It's a weird, like, spot to be in. Just a weird spot because I'm not used to it. I think that because of my history with dieting and my relationship with food and how I've done it in the past, that it feels foreign. It feels odd to be in the middle of a diet and not be stressing while in the middle of a diet. I feel like in the past I've had stress all the way through any diet that I've done, from the beginning all the way till it broke at the end. It was stressful. It was hard work, and it took a lot more willpower to stay on those diets. Whereas with this diet, I get to feed myself a large volume of food, so I get that out of the way. Like I don't have that stress that all those other diets had on me, because this diet allows you to eat a comfortable amount of food. And that lunch I had today, that was a huge bowl of food with 4 or 5 potatoes and 12 ounces of broccoli on it. Like that wasn't a small amount of food. And and so being able to eat that large amount of food, I don't have those normal cravings that I expect to have, or that normal kind of feel that I'm expecting to have at this point in the diet. And I'm extremely happy to be in the middle of my diet, because like I said, I don't know that I ever felt this comfortable in a diet in the past, and that that I was that confident that the diet was going to get me to where I want to go. It's seemed like in the past I was still hoping on these diets and not relying on them. But this diet, I really feel like I've been able to rely on the diet and continue to succeed and continue to see weight loss. So it's cool to be here, and it's kind of a weird feeling, like I've said many times, because I'm expecting that stress. I'm expecting that difficulty with the diet, and it's not showing up. It's not getting here. Yeah, so it's I don't even know how to wrap up what I'm talking about, because I wasn't sure. It takes time to get here is the other thing. And I didn't allow, my body wouldn't allow these other diets to get me to this point, because they had, they're so volume restricting. Like that's something that I know I go on and on about volume and calorie density, but those are the two aspects that I feel like get ignored in so many other diets, and so many, it gets put on the person to get over that struggle. It's your fault you can't eat less food, and that way it's not the food's fault, it's the person's fault that they can't resist eating large amounts of the food. Hey Barb, hope you're having a great day. just talking a little bit about diet and just kind of being in the middle of the diet and almost, expecting it to be more difficult, or maybe trying to make it more difficult than it is, just because I don't expect it to be as easy as it feels like it's been. And then I just got talking about, I don't know what I was just mentioning. Just pushing through it, and it's like, it's not, again, it's not a difficult thing to push through. I still get to eat a huge volume of food. I still get excited about the food. I eat a bowl of broccoli and potatoes with no added flavorings or seasonings to it, and I'm extremely happy and satisfied with the taste and flavor of the food. And there's nothing to feel guilty about when you eat food like that. And so it's amazing. Tennessee Yoga Girl says, you just ate homemade vegetable soup with frozen veggies, homemade broth, and potatoes. It was so delicious and satisfying. I was talking about volume. Yes, I was talking about volume. Yes, Tennessee Yoga Girl. And it's rewarding to, like you said, you made homemade broth and homemade like you controlled everything that was in that dish. And so, everything that you are consuming, and, yeah, and the volume eating, I was just thinking about the, Carrie says you can't beat that broth. Absolutely. The taking control of your food yourself. I guess that's what I'm thinking about here, is how important that has been for us. The removing of outside processing. If the food you're going to be eating or the food that you're going to be eating is processed, then do the processing yourself. Don't rely on somebody else to do the processing for you. Thanks, Pretty Girl's mom. I appreciate it. Don't allow other people to do the processing, because that's a big part of these issues that we are having, is that we are allowing other people to control what's in the food that we are eating. If we looked at the ingredients list and it just had whole natural foods on it, then it wouldn't be a problem. But many of these processed foods don't just have whole natural products. They use chemicals and a lot of food engineering to create everything. Hey, B, how's it going? You're back. I hope everything's been going great since you were here the other day. We're just talking a little bit about food and volume eating. Am I still eating a pound of Cobbler each day? Yes, I am eating quite a bit of Cobbler each day. It's probably a pound of fruit, and it's still been really good and delicious, and definitely something that I have been enjoying. So yes, everything's cool. That's awesome. But yes, it is still eating a lot of fruit at the end of the day through the Cobbler. So we were talking about the processing of foods and eliminating processed foods and allowing other people to process your foods for you. And it happens when you go to the store, everything is processed. When you go to the restaurants, everything that they have bought was processed before they got it, and then they process it even more before they hand it to you. And all of those things add chemicals and they add calories, because a lot of times when people are preparing food for you, they are wanting you to enjoy the food, or they're wanting you to come back and buy more food from them. But either way, they know that they have to reach those dopamine sensors in your brain that get you to have pleasure. that you need to enjoy it. You have to have that pleasure sensor. To want to come back and buy the food more, they have to ignite that pleasure sensor. And they're in competition sometimes. If it's a restaurant you're going to, they're in competition with other restaurants. So they're going to add things to their food that make it a little bit more attractive. Like it's no mistake that if you go to a Texas Roadhouse, that the butter has cinnamon mixed in with it, because they know that if they just had regular butter, they wouldn't be any more special than the steakhouse next door. So they add that flavor to that butter. Then people say, well, I want to go to Texas Roadhouse because they give me those buns with that butter. And so they add something to the food to get you to love their food a little bit more and come back to eat their food more. And if they were not using these tricks, then everything would be real plain. All the restaurants would have the same food. Everything would be the same. But, the biggest problem is bread and rice. You say here, you eat those carbs a lot. I wouldn't worry about the rice if you're just eating rice. Now, if you're taking the rice and you're throwing butter and you're throwing a bunch of stuff in the rice to make it more palatable to you, there you have to watch kind of those added things. But just eating rice, white rice or brown rice on its own, I think that over time your body will get adjusted to it. The bread is difficult. I ate a lot of like Ezekiel bread. I know it doesn't sound, or it doesn't look as appealing as like a big loaf of white bread, but it does allow you to get the volume, and you can put some just plain peanut butter on it and eat toast with peanut butter. Just make sure that there's not added chemicals and added stuff to those foods. Yeah, it could have. Plants Only Munchers asking if the Cobbler could have contributed to my recent weight gain. It could have. I mean, because it's calories. If it contributed to my weight gain, I believe that it's because it messed something up with my digestion. It either slowed my digestion down, and I'm retaining more food than I was before. But the Cobbler itself, I don't know that I could gain like fat from eating pineapple and peaches. And so, but it may have contributed to the weight gain in some way. I don't know. It's not, something that I talked about a lot the last few weeks here, or last week especially, is that I don't want to keep making changes all over the place, trying to shake up my weight loss. I want to be consistent, and I want to see how consistency works out for me. And because I could have not gained as much weight that second week if I would have fasted for a day before the weigh-in. If I would have made changes to my diet, I could have made that second week's weight gain lower. But to me, it's just playing games for a temporary fix, or a temporary, because the weight, I can see the weight going up. And so, and again, consistency. I've been preaching consistency. I'm going to continue to be consistent with kind of my choices and see how it works. But I don't know that if it caused me to gain weight, it's not that I gained 5 pounds of fat from eating the Cobbler, but it maybe affected something. But it could have been a few other things too. So, Pretty Girl's mom says, now you're having the Cobbler, you probably have less other fruit in the evening, right? Oh yeah. Like that's something that, that's the fruit that I eat in the evening has really been cut down, I suppose, because we have that cobbler for sure. Because I used to grab bananas and apples and oranges out of the tray, and I still do, but generally it's before dinner that I grab any fruit at this point because we have that cobbler in the evening or after dinner. Tennessee girl, you said you're taking a break from oatmeal as a test to see if it's what caused your digestion issue. You do love oats, so you hope you can have it again. Yes, and it's great that you're able to do that kind of stuff. I feel like with this diet too, is you can play around with removing foods or food groups, and there's not a lot of cross contamination. You know, it's hard to maybe avoid some products while doing other diets because of them being included in them inherently, I guess. Yeah, let us know. Carrie says she hopes it's not the oatmeal. If it's the oatmeal, maybe it's the difference between eating rolled oats and the oat groats and the steel cut oats that we have, because the rolled oats are something your body can process a little bit easier than the steel cut or the rolled oats. Jean says that you switched to using pre-soaked dry beans to cut back on the salt. You cannot find salt-free around there. Yeah, we've had a hard time finding salt-free in different areas, and so we've done that as well with some of the different, like I don't know, maybe the cannelli beans or some of the other beans. But yeah, we try to get the salt-free options whenever possible, or soak them yourself. You can cook them in the, or you can get them ready to go in the Instapot too. We've done that. Let's see. Biggie says the most frustrating thing is gaining back the weight you try to lose for years. We just need to keep on encouraging ourselves. That's the most important thing, is to know what to do. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like, I'm absolutely rooting for anybody who's on a diet, whether it's this diet or a different diet. If you're trying to change your position or change your body's composition, then right, anybody trying to improve themselves needs to be encouraged to improve themselves. And that's that weight gain, that frustrating thing that you're talking about, that caused me to continue to gain weight for 7 years. Because in 2013, I thought I had it figured out. I was 420 pounds or so, or 415. And I went to a doctor, started taking an appetite suppressant, and I lost a ton of weight. I felt amazing. And over the course of 9 months, I had dropped over 100 pounds, and I felt like I had it figured out, that I knew what to do. You know, like this was easy. You just got to eat less food. Why couldn't I just eat less food before? I figured it out now, is what I thought in 2013. And then the doctor couldn't prescribe the appetite suppressant anymore. And as soon as I was not taking the appetite suppressant anymore, I gained weight back immediately. My appetite came back, and I hadn't changed the food that I was eating. I was just eating less of that food, and I didn't fix my diet. Even though I lost 100 pounds, I didn't fix my diet, and I gained that weight back. And the frustration from gaining that weight back, and the number of times that, you know, that was just the last time in a list of multiple times where I had lost weight and gained it back. And I had just resigned myself to being fat. I quit after 2013, and it wasn't till 7 years later that I decided to start picking the pieces back up and doing something. And I wish so much that I would have done this at any point in the last 7 years. You know, I'm happy I did it when I did it, but I wish I would have done it sooner. And so that's the big thing, is get started, get doing it. And it's really something that it's about doing it. And, you know, and when I started this challenge, my challenge was to stick to something for 3 years, to stick to weight loss for 3 years. It didn't have to be the diet that I'm eating today. I just knew that I needed to retrain myself on how to eat, and I needed to get as far away from that processed standard American diet that I was eating. And so, my goal going into this was that I'm going to do the water fast at the beginning, and then I'm going to start a diet. And if that diet isn't working for me, or I don't like that diet anymore, I'm going to go to another diet. I'm going to change my diet. I'm not going to go from being on this diet to failing and going back to my old diet. And so a big part of this whole 3-year challenge has been continuing to educate myself, continuing to adjust my diet to fit my needs, and being patient with the diet itself too, because it's not just the way that I'm going to eat for the 3 years. It's the way I'm going to eat the rest of my life. And so you got to be patient with yourself, learning out how to eat a different way and learning different cues and different, it's difficult, and that's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of this stream, was that I feel like I'm really past that difficult early part that I know is very tough for many people. But if you can get through it, it's really worth it. So yeah, I know it can be frustrating to gain the weight back, or the weight that you gained back, but you can't change the past. You can only change what you're doing in this present moment. And in the future, when you look back, then that's the regret you're going to look back on, is if you didn't do it. So, let's see here. Tammy says that you had to stop eating oats and rice to lose your final pounds. And that might be something that, as I get closer, if I'm really pushing to get those final pounds off, I can look at that. Let's see. Pretty Girl's mom says that if you're eating half of the recipe for the cobbler, that's a whole cup, and that equals 200 calories through the oats. I guess you're talking about is the 200 calories of 1 cup of oats, right? And Carrie says that one of the best things about this diet is that you may not be losing week after week, but you're maintaining when you're not losing, which is awesome. And that's something that I talked a lot about in my videos over the second year, or at the end of the second year, kind of being frustrated that I didn't lose as much as I did the first year, but then realizing that I never maintained weight loss. I was never able to lose 150, 175, 200 pounds and then keep it off. Like that was a huge win, and I didn't even realize it till at the end of the year. Like, I spent the whole year frustrated I wasn't losing more weight. And then I finally had to realize and look back and be like, be like, wow, I spent a whole year of maintaining weight loss. That's not happened, because I go from these diets of eating. The diet that I eat before I start my weight loss diet is a diet of somebody who weighs 500, 600, 700 pounds. So I was gradually working my way up to being somebody who was 500, 600, or 700 pounds. And when I would go on these weight loss diets in the past, I would switch from that 700 pound person's diet to start eating like a 90-pound person is eating. And when I do that, I lose an incredible amount of weight. Of course, you're going to lose a bunch of weight. You went from eating like a 700-pound person to eating like a 90-pound person. But your body isn't going to be able to do that forever. You're not going to be able to continue to eat like a 90-pound person and continue to have health. It's going to have negative health effects over time eating like that. So what I found is that on this diet, and one of my goals going into this was to find out how to eat like a 220-pound version of myself. Find out how to eat like the 200-pound version of myself needs to eat every single day. not just what I need to eat to get to 200 pounds and then go back to the other diet. And then a year later, try to cut the weight again and just get back and forth on this stupid cycle. I want to end that cycle. I just want to flatten it out and just be kind of even the whole way. Gene here says that rolled oats are somewhat processed like steel cut. Yes. So you have to respect the fact that they are in the high end of the calories per pound. The balance in non-starchy is what allows the use of those things. Yeah, that's the thing about the calorie density too, is that your goal is to stay under 600 calories per pound. The majority of your foods you want to have under 600 calories per pound. If you're going to have foods that are higher than that calorie amount per pound, then you need to look at your whole day or whole week, look at your diet in a larger scale and say, okay, if we start to equalize it, where does it come in at? Okay, I ate 4 pounds of food that are 200 calories and I ate 4 pounds of food that are 800 calories. So I'm at 600 calories per day. Or I had a bunch of food that was 100 calories and I had some avocado that was higher in calories, or had some nuts, or the sauce I needed for the recipe had cashews in it. Well, if the sauce that's got the cashews is going onto a bunch of non-starchy vegetables, then the calorie density of that whole meal ends up being in a safe range. So it does allow you to get some of those flavors from the higher calorie dense foods into your diet. But again, if your goal is weight loss, the fewer of those high calorie dense foods you have, the better results you're going to see on the scale. So you just have to weigh that kind of decision. You have to make that decision. And let's see. Vicky says you introduced your friends. That's awesome. I hope that they can learn something and hopefully, they pick up something that helps them to lose weight or make them more healthy. Pretty Girl's mom says you cut the amount of oats in your cobbler recipe in half, or you cut it to 1.5 cups. Okay, yeah, I could see reducing that. And really, I've had thoughts of it and just thought, I would just really like to just have the fruit. The oat is very good with the banana and all the flavorings mixed into it, but just having the fruit after being baked in the oven for 45 minutes, I think would be amazing as well. Gene here says maybe put the cobbler in silicone muffin cups and have with nice cream, you're making yourself hungry now. Yes, that sounds delicious. We could get that little we had those things the other day and just put in the cupcakes and then put a little bit of ice cream on there. It'd be delicious. Absolutely. The food, I don't know, the food I get to eat is amazing, and it all sounds delicious, and you are making me hungry too. You think so? Talking about lots of different things here. But yeah, just it's so different. It's such a different diet. It's such a different way to look at food, and it's so satisfying. Like, that's the big thing. And it's been I don't know. Like I said, being in the middle of the diet, there's all kinds of things I'm expecting to feel, or I'm thinking I should feel that they're just not there, like it's just so much easier. And then also some of my drive has changed, I've talked a lot about that the past week here, is that so much of my focus when I started this was the weight loss. Not being 519.8 pounds, just losing weight. And I've done an incredible job at losing weight. I've lost 200 plus pounds so far. and it feels amazing to have lost that weight. But what feels even more amazing than the weight loss is how healthy I feel inside and out. I don't go and work out at the gym. I'm not doing exercises. I'm not even really taking walks. I'm more active in my daily life than I used to be, but I'm not out there killing myself at the gym and trying to build my muscles and get my metabolism going and get my heart rate up. Even without doing all of that stuff, I feel healthier now than I've ever felt in my entire life. Like I mean, especially as an adult, you know, and that's been a big shift in this whole process too, because my focus is health. My focus is making myself healthy and living a long and healthy life. Carrie says she might cut down the oats in the cobbler just to see if it makes a difference. And then Pretty Girl's mom says, "Good idea, John. No oats. Going to try that next time." Yeah, I like the fruit warmed up. I think it tastes amazing. Like, I mean, like I said, the oats obviously add flavor, and Carrie may try it with half the oats tonight, and I tell her that's ridiculous. Go back to the old recipe. Chef AJ spent years developing that perfect recipe for that cobbler. But yeah, you know, and that's great. Like I said, we get to play with these recipes and find out what works for you. You can take the oats out of it, see if it makes you feel different, and go on from there. But you're controlling everything that's in your food. And I know it's tough to grasp having to do that or doing that, but to start, just make your diet simple. Just eat simple things. Go grab a can of corn with no salt added, warm that up, you know, just get the volume of food in your stomach, you know. And the biggest crutch that I leaned on when I first started was Ezekiel bread and nut butter, 100%. Like, I had that all of the time, was Ezekiel bread and nut butter. If I was hungry, I would toast up a couple slices and eat it. I know it was more calorie dense, but it was far less calorie dense than the alternative, than the crap I was eating before. And I just wanted to make sure that I was satisfying my hunger, because if you can satisfy your hunger, then you can make the diet work. If you can satisfy your appetite, you can make the diet work. You don't need to start eating less food. You just need to change the content of the food that you're eating. And Carrie says that, and at the beginning, having that Ezekiel bread and that nut butter is great when you're first starting, because you might need that crutch, especially if you have a lot of weight to lose. And there were many times where I wasn't sure how my weight would be the next day, because I had Ezekiel bread and nut butter that night. Or the other one that I really liked was brown rice noodles, like pasta and homemade marinara sauce. And I would just eat a huge bowl of brown rice noodles, and then the next day be like, all right, I'm going to get on the scale and it's going to be a 4-pound gain, and I'm going to just deal with it. And I would get on the scale and I would lose a half pound, or I'd lose a pound, like, because it's a different type of noodle and your body's processing things different when you're not having all these other chemicals in your body. It's just, there's all kinds of stuff and you can get away with it when you're starting your diet. You know, like I might be able to have brown rice noodles, and it wouldn't affect my diet really that negatively, but I don't, because I don't need it. We have other options. We're eating a lot more non-starchy vegetables now than that. So, so yeah, just, if everything that you're putting into your body is health food, then it's going to eventually create a healthy body, right? Like, you are what you eat. And if you eat processed junk food, you become processed junk. If you eat Yeah, eat a lot of rice. That's fine. Just don't put butter in it. Don't put um so like real thick sauces that are real heavy in calories, and I'm a big fan of the no salt. So if you can get rid of sodium, that's huge. But if you are eating salt, liquid aminos, my kids love those in their rice. And so uh, it's something where be okay with it. Be okay with eating more food than you are used to eating on a diet, because your body craves food. Your body craves volume. That's why I was overweight, is because my body craves volume. My body, if my body was okay with eating 2 pounds of food, then I wouldn't be as heavy as I am, because even at 2,000 calories a pound, I would be only eating 4,000 calories a day, and that's manageable. But my body doesn't need 2 pounds. My body needs 6 pounds. My body needs 8 pounds. And at 2,000 calories a day, you're up to 10,000 calories, or 2,000 calories per pound. You're up to 10,000 calories very quickly, very easily. So it's been something that it your body wants food. Like that's why I was overweight. My body wants food. And so if I keep fighting that natural instinct, eventually I'm going to lose, because it's it's an instinct. It's built into my DNA. I can't beat what's built into my DNA. So start eating that rice, and if, I believe if you're looking to lose weight, if you are eating more brown rice than white rice, you're going to see more weight loss, because it's harder for your body to process brown rice, and it's harder for your body to take calories from brown rice. So if you can eat brown rice versus white rice, eat the brown rice, or try to eat it. Eat the grains you're eating as close to the natural form as possible, because you use your body to your advantage that way. Because when you eat food that's in its whole form, you eat the steel cut oats or the oat groats or the brown rice versus the white rice. When you eat them, it's more volume for the same amount of calories than if you had the fiber removed from them. And when it's in your body, that food gets digested as it goes through your intestines. And if it's got the shell on it, it makes it more difficult for your body to take calories from the food. So it's harder to get calories, and your body has to work harder to get those calories. So you burn more calories to get fewer calories. And that's going to give you a little bit of an extra, maybe couple calorie burn a day. Who knows if what it ends up in the end. But that's why I like eating as little of processed food as possible, is because then my body has to break it down. My body has to use that energy, instead of allowing the blender to chop up my greens and drinking a green smoothie. I'm making the workers inside my stomach cut up that spinach, cut up those greens to get the nutrients out of them. And so then I am causing my body to burn more energy and to receive fewer calories. So that should net me a little bit better weight loss results than not. That's Only Muncher's asking what kind of fruit we put in the cobbler, how long do we cook it, and at what temperature. You might just try cooking the fruit. So we've been going and getting like mixed bags of frozen fruit. We get them from Walmart mostly. The real popular one is the peaches, pineapple, and maybe mango in it. I feel like it's mango, but I know it's peaches, pineapple, strawberries, and then we add some of our own fruit, sometimes like pineapples and mangoes, but it's usually that, or there's a berry blend that is like cherries and blackberries, maybe strawberries in that again. But just one of those mixed fruit bags from Walmart is usually what we use for ours. And then we cook it for 45 minutes at 350 degrees. Tammy says that you use liquid aminos, but you dilute it to cut back on the overall sodium. Biggie says you like to eat one meal per day, but you eat like normal food, no junk food. You'll try the brown rice. I would, if you like brown rice, if you can stomach it, I would say to try it, and if the one meal a day works for you, if you're able to sustain yourself on one meal a day, that's great, but don't make yourself go hungry. I think that is because that leads to those cravings, that leads to those binges, that, like that last hour before you're eating, that's all you're thinking about is food, I imagine. And so when you allow yourself to eat when you're hungry, you may eat more food than eating one meal a day, but I think that it helps pushes away. You don't have to deal with the cravings as much. Or if you're going to eat one meal a day, have some real, have fruit, have vegetables that if you're in a pinch, you have that to grab, because if you're in a pinch and all you have is bad food choices, you're going to go to the bad food choices. So just make sure you have good choices around you. But it can be, I would have a difficult time, I feel like, getting the volume of food that I consume in a day in one meal, because I eat, I probably had 3 pounds of potatoes with broccoli today. My breakfast is a couple pounds. My dinner is going to be a couple pounds. It would be tough for me to eat 6 pounds, 7 pounds in one sitting. But, if it's working for you, then that's great. You just know that, that you don't have to be rigid with that part of your diet, like the timing of when you eat or doing the one meal a day. Because in your diet, it's probably the first thing that you're going to have to, make adjustments for. You might run into something where it doesn't work to have that one meal when you want to have it, and then you're making changes to that. But just make sure you're eating good, healthy food, and grab some purse potatoes. Gene says, yes, have a purse potato, have food in your car that is health promoting food. That way you're not tempted by the fast food restaurants or the triggers that you might see going down the road. But the one meal a day is working for you. You went from 117 kilograms down to 95, but you're still struggling. Yeah, absolutely. And it does, like I said, it gets tough when you're not eating a large volume of food. And that's why I feel like I'm not as stressed with my diet now, is because I'm eating large volumes of food. And if you're making a diet change, if you're making these shifts, you might see the scale go in the direction you don't want to see. But give it a few weeks, give it a couple weeks. Like, because if you do start eating a larger volume of food, then you're going to have more food in your digestive system. So when you get on the scale, you might weigh a pound heavier, but it just means that you have a pound of brown rice in your stomach that hasn't been processed yet, that you didn't used to have. And just try to lower that calorie density of your diet with those non-starchy vegetables too. That's something that when we did the Chef AJ reboot it was a couple months ago, we started adding that broccoli before, we kind of preloading our breakfast and then our lunch, filling it up with broccoli. Overall, brought the calorie density of our diet down a lot, because we eat volumes of food. And if you replace that volume of food with a lower calorie dense food, then you're going to see a little bit better weight loss. Gene says that doing fasting, having like a 12 to 16 hour window works better. Eating in between those times, your body makes you think to retain the weight due to the restrictions. Yeah, it's hard, because for everybody, different schedules work for different things. And like, I pretty much have a 12-hour, or well, it's a 10-hour eating window, I guess. Like, it's not like an intentional, I don't say I'm not going to eat till 10, but I've been trying to push my breakfast till about 10 a.m. and then I get done eating about 8 p.m. So I have about a 10-hour eating window. And that works for me. So, and then Jean says, yes, veggies for breakfast. Yeah, read Chef AJ's The Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss. She talks about vegetables for breakfast, guys. You've heard of breakfast for dinner? Well, start eating dinner for breakfast and see the benefits of doing that. And then Pretty Girl's mom says that you think the 2 smaller meals a day would work better. Yeah, as long as you're getting a satisfying volume of food every day. If you're getting a satisfying amount of food, a satisfying volume of food every day, you're not going to deal with cravings as much. You're not going to deal with the struggle of being hungry. Like, it's inherent. If you eat enough to be satisfied, you don't have to deal with hunger. And I think a biggest reason diets fail is because people are hungry on their diet. You don't have to be hungry on your diet. I satisfy my hunger. If I was hungry right now, I could run into the kitchen, throw a bag of broccoli in, and I could eat that. If it's true hunger, then you'll be willing to eat anything. I tell my kids that all the time, and they don't believe me. But when they're right before bed and they're like, I'm hungry and I'm going to hear some carrots, and like, I don't want carrots. And I'm like, well, you're not that hungry then. It doesn't work on them, but maybe it'll work on you. So let's see. And Jean says that you're changing to a different bag a day, a different bag of veggies a day. I'm not sure what the different bag is. But mixed veggies. Yeah, a different bag of mixed veggies every day. I kind of thought we were going to do that. When we started this Chef AJ's reboot, I thought that, I was going to be having broccoli one morning, and then we did, like, the second morning, we had like zucchini that Carrie had cooked up, and we had something different, maybe one other time, but we just went back to the broccoli every single time because it was easy. We could just steam it real quick, throw it on the plate and eat it. It was so much quicker, and it's always good. It's always satisfying. It always smells amazing. Today, again, people coming into the office going, oh my God, your guys' lunch smells amazing. What is it? Broccoli and potato. What? Can't smell that good if it's just broccoli and potato. It is that good. Biggie says you're not really a food person. Your only problem is that you were not eating right. The reason why you're trying a lot to study your body and know what to eat, really eat. Yeah, that's something too, is that, it wasn't eating right. Like, that's a lot of us are out there not eating right, but we're just eating the way we were taught, and we're eating the way that we see other people eat, and some people can't eat like other people eat. Some people have different genetics. They have different drives. They have different, lots of things. And so, that's something for me, again, starting this challenge, educating myself, continuing to read all those books that I have down on that list below. That, that's what has helped me to adjust my diet to what we're doing now. It's just keep educating yourself, keep being willing to try new things. I really appreciate you on here talking about trying these new things. But also, when you do try new things, give them a chance to work. Don't be so ready to throw them out right away, but over time, be willing to make the changes, so I've talked about, I got rid of avocado at certain points. I got rid of fruit juices at certain points. But even with getting rid of those things, I'm still eating plenty of food. It's not like I got rid of it and didn't have something. I just drink regular water instead of fruit juices when I'm thirsty. I eat larger volumes of my dinner instead of having the avocados, things like that. Yes, time is the key. Give it time. We're so impatient. God, we're so impatient, you know, like, and I've dealt with that over the past month here with being impatient, being like frustrated that I want it to happen quicker. I want it to happen now. And then when it doesn't happen, wanting to change something so that it forces it to happen. When in reality, if I just give it time, it's going to run its course and it's going to happen on its own. So, I think that that's going to be it for me today. Tomorrow, I think I'll be live. I don't know. Fridays are a mixed bag. I say that every Thursday. I don't know what's going to happen on Friday, because I just get so excited to go home for the weekend. But I think I'll be able to go live tomorrow, unless Carrie chimes in and says, no, you have this going on. But planning on going live tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, you guys all have a great weekend. I really appreciate everybody supporting the channel and following along. I hope that you guys, Carrie says she doesn't have any plans for me. Yeah, right. I'll get home and I'll see that chore list. It'll be a mile long. But you can think of right now, right? But yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. Thank you guys for the support. If you've not subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. If you've not clicked on the bell icon to get alerted when I go live or post new videos, make sure that you do that. If you've not hit the thumbs up on this video, hit the thumbs up on this video. Comment down below. What are you doing to stay on your diet? What foods do you eat to volume eat to help you, you know, and when you started your diet, was there foods that you ate that you don't eat now? If you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. There's no event this weekend that it's willing to risk your life for. So get started right now. There's nobody that reaches their goals, looks back and says, man, I wish I would have waited. Everybody looks back and wishes they would have started sooner. So get started now. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.